Chapter 2 is electrostatics. And in section 2.1 we're going to study the electrostatic field. And we'll start with an introduction here in 2.1.1. An introduction well worth reading. So the fundamental problem that electromagnetic theory tries to solve is this. When you have a group of charges over here, we call these source charges, and these may be moving or they may be stationary, and then you insert a test charge over here. We use capital letter Q to represent that, and it of course may also be moving. The question is, what force does that test charge experience caused by these source charges? That's not a simple question to answer, and if it weren't for the principle of superposition, it may be all but impossible to answer. Luckily, we can write the force on Q as equal to the sum of all the forces on Q by the various source charges, independent of one another. So if we just look and think about what does this charge do to that charge, and what does this charge do to that charge, and then what does this charge do to that charge, each in isolation, then add up the separate forces, we'll get the total force acting on our test charge. So I could write down the force that a moving, possibly accelerating charge would exert on a test charge that's moving, possibly accelerating. It would be a very complicated formula, and you wouldn't be able to understand what I'm writing. The difficulty arises because not only do we have to take the velocity and acceleration of the charges into account, which incorporates a magnetic field and various things like that, but we have to think about how long it takes for the news of this charge's motion or position to reach the test charge. And so really the test charge is going to react to previous news that has already occurred at any given moment in time. So it's not a simple thing to write down that formula. So in order to understand that formula, we're going to break down the study of electromagnetics to first electrostatics. And as you might guess, this has to do with not moving. So this is when your test charges or your source charges are stationary. Of course, with reference to the frame of reference we're interested in. And so in electrostatics, all the source charges are not moving. And so the forces we consider only have to do with the position of those charges. They haven't been moving since the beginning of time. They'll never move till the end of time. And so we don't even have to think about how long it takes for the messages from the source charge to reach the test charge. It dramatically simplifies everything we're going to do.